Hey Max, how you doing?
How are you? Oh my God, so much better. I literally meditated on like feeling better and I woke up like so much better. It was
hmm
crazy.
Yeah, it's
Literally.
it's it's on the brain signals, right? So you can tell your brain to do whatever you want.
Wow. And you know what's crazy is like once the medicine kind of wore off too, like I noticed just the meditation like was so much better.
Yeah, yeah. You
But
know, you know what's really funny? If you watch some of the vlogs we've been doing, we're doing daily vlogs to help
yes.
promote Manifest
Yep.
Success. So I was doing DoorDash because I remember that was one of our students who does Lyft or DoorDash, and the goal was to make $100 in that day just driving at night or something. So I was like 16 or 18 bucks short, and nobody orders meals at 9 p.m. So I was like, universe, give me like a $16 or a $20 deal right now, just a big tip. So I just kept repeating, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, and happy. And at this point, I'm exhausted from driving all day. So I just kept repeating that over and over and over. And then I heard a ding, and it was exactly in the middle, $18. It was like, oh, sweet. And we hit our goal.
So you made $100. Yep.
Yeah, $100 for the challenge. Our current goal is to make we're playing the doubling game. So have you ever heard the riddle? It's like, would you rather have $1 million right now or a penny that doubles every day for 30 days? So the penny, the day two goes to 2 pennies, then four
Yes.
pennies, then 8 pennies. Which one would you rather have?
Yes. I heard, well, okay, I haven't heard that. I think I'd
Mhm.
rather have the penny. What I have heard from Tony Robbins is great. Sorry. They were playing golf and Tony Robbins said we could play each hole for X amount of big money, or why don't we just keep it small? Why don't we just play this hole for 10 cents and then just have it double the next hole or whatever? And the guy's like, yeah, fuck it, why not? And then at the end, it worked up to be like 14 grand by the time you got to like hole 18. And the guy was like,
Exactly.
what? It's crazy.
That's the power of doubling and compounding. So you want to guess how much that penny is worth at the end of 30 days?
1.5?
5.3.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so we're playing that. That's part of the challenge now. So every day we succeed. So the first goal was $100. We succeeded. Now we're on $200 in one day. We're trying to do that. We're figuring out like real estate or Shopify. We're trying to do it like imagine like our students' mind who have no money other than the money they make at DoorDash. So we're trying to figure out a solution for that right now. We're on day three, I think, or day two. So yeah, we're just posting daily. And what we'll do is we'll pull clips out of this for the vlog. So like we're doing the health, wealth, and happiness. Health, we're meditating every day, intermittent fasting, going on long walks, lifting weights, stuff.
Yeah.
The wealth is the doubling game challenge, and the happiness is where you come in. We'll also do more wealth stuff with Evan as well. I was just
Did
watching
you
his most recent call.
did you achieve the next day, day two was $200 a day, I assume?
Yeah, we failed. We spent too much time on research. We were like, should we do real estate? Should we do Shopify? And we spent the whole day just figuring that out, and we made no money. And we did the same thing today as well. So we're on day three.
And
So
is
I was
we
like,
just you or we is also like your team?
oh yeah, it's me, the videographer, editor, and
Yeah.
we have a researcher as well. But like, I'm the one doing the challenge. Like, I'm the face of it. So like,
Yeah.
so that
Oh, so you
that
took like
that
your lucid dreaming team and had them do this.
yeah, exactly, because I wanted to help promote this business for you guys, so it's easier for you. How's
And
that outreach going, by the way?
it's going
You
good.
you keeping up with 100 per day?
Yes and no. So what caught up was me actually having to coach my existing clients who are currently paying my bills,
Of
which is
course,
like a fucking mess.
need
Um,
those.
kind of decided not to get evicted. So what I did is I put the job up on Upwork, and I'll be interviewing with a couple of people, and
Yeah,
I'm just gonna have them do the outreach. But it's not like this course will have to pay for them because I'm gonna have them do other work for me personally. So this is just an aspect of it. So
yeah.
um,
Remember, you can just pull it from your profit share for the first month. Like
yeah,
if it's only 100 or $200 a week, you have to pay
exactly.
these people, and they'll do 100 outreaches for you every day. Just make sure very clearly what type of outreaches you want to do. If it's personal, just tell them how you personalize it. Like record
Yes.
yourself doing it, and then just interview them and have them practice before you give them
The
your
biggest thing
your
for the interview is
answer.
just their English, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So as long as they're fluent English, and you'd be surprised, there's a lot of people in the Philippines who have fluent
Yeah.
English, Pakistan, um, and they all work for like a few bucks an hour. So
Yeah. The only
that
way to truly measure it is when it's the same thing every day. And for me, still currently having to run my actual business,
yeah,
like obviously it'll be better when I don't. but like I still have to. So I don't
Yeah,
want
until we get 4 students, that's our break even point for you guys. Like
Yeah.
we said, it was 3,500 for you. Evan only needed 1,500, but I said let's do 3,500 for everybody so
Yeah.
it's consistent. That's only 4 students, right? So that's not a
Yes.
lot. Like if we're outreaching 100 per day and both of you are doing that consistently, or you hire a VA to do that, I
Yeah.
guarantee you'll each land 2 or 3 students a week. Once
Yeah.
you get in the swing of things, right? It might take some lead up time. Obviously, you're only on week 2.
I know, because it's
But
so different from what we're doing. And honestly, like I think I'll be honest, like I think a big part of it is me and Evan just need to like get comfortable with these numbers.
yeah. It's just a new price point, right? Like you're selling the same thing, it's just now a monthly subscription. That's the
Yeah.
only difference.
And just a lot, but yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so now do you have any more questions for me at that point before we move on?
No.
Okay, great. Yeah, just keep sending me your sales calls. I'll review them.
Yeah.
Happy to help in any way. I was reviewing Evans for the guy who's wealthy. He just didn't dig into a big enough pain point, whatever it was, health, wealth, or happiness. He just didn't do that. That's why I felt like wealthy people wouldn't want this. But like that guy who charges $1 million for his service, and he basically teaches the same thing we do. You know, there is a market if you can find a big enough pain point. So whether you're talking to low income or a high income, just dig into that pain point. Make sure we can solve it. Help them believe that, and then you'll be able to close them that easily.
The only person I know who's $1 million a year is Tony Robbins. Like I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, there's several people like that. I've been researching it more and more, especially in the spirituality niche. There's like billionaires who pay millions of dollars to these coaches.
Wow. So just find meaning in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because their pain point is I made all this money.
So yeah,
and I thought
I have all this wealth. I might be healthy, but I'm not happy. So I might need a relationship coach, or my mental health isn't there because like I've spent all this time focusing on money and not my spirituality. So that's another reason why like monks have no material possessions. You don't have to go as strict as that and sleep on the floor. I've done it. It's not fun, but it clarifies things and it helps you like really allocate your time the best way.
Wow.
So okay, so now we're gonna turn the call a little bit so we can get clips. So pretend I'm a student and just coach me like you would a student. So you're the authority figure right now. I'm gonna tell you what I'm looking for, and then you're gonna help me accomplish it. Okay?
Yeah, sounds fun.
Okay, so I'm Ian the student right now. So walk me through how you normally do it. So here's my goals. I want to have 3 to 6 girlfriends that are eventually all live in, and they're all bi, so they're attracted to each other too, but I'm the only guy. So that's what I'm looking for. So how do I facilitate that? What actions do I need to take? Like, do I do social media? Do I do Tinder? Do I do cold outreaches in person? How do I facilitate that? And then we'll take clips of this and then me actually doing it in the vlogs. So that will be the happiness aspect of love interests. And then we can also touch on how do we improve friends and family relationships as well. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the love interests, and then we'll move into the friends and family. So how do we go about achieving this?
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. So if that's your goal, you are going to have to approach women in everyday life, right?
Mm-hmm.
A big part of this is going to be getting that girl's investment, getting that girl's connection. And I think you're going to make it further having that comfortability of meeting this girl in person, right? Now, obviously, if you meet this girl in a bar or a club, that's kind of like a rager, that's kind of like a fun popping place. You're going to meet a little bit more. I don't want to use the word promiscuous, but I will use the word sexually open. Because you're not going to meet this girl in church. Right? So
depends which church, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that church is going to be like on Netflix on a documentary or something. But yeah, so that's kind of the environment that you need. So now it comes to, okay, cool. Well, how do you actually facilitate that? How do you actually make that happen? So I was actually just on with a client before, and I taught him this equation, which is super, super important. Ian, I'm sure you know nothing about this, but your energy equals your actions, which equals your results. Now, a lot of students will interrupt me and they'll say, Max, what do I say when I approach a girl? And I will say that is the exact problem why your dating life is struggling, because you are so concerned with your actions, which is only 7% of human communication. 93% of human communication is your energy. And so many coaches out here say energy. They throw that word around all the time, but what does that even mean? I'll make it very simple. Energy is a 50-50 combination of your mindset and your body language. When you control your body language, it will impact your mind. And when you control your mind, it will impact your body language. So when you do both of those things actively, it kind of creates a success loop, and they both just make each other better, which creates your energy. That is how you change your energy at any state. Now, what's really, really cool, and what I need you to understand, is women are only attracted to guys that they perceive as being higher value than them. Women do not date down. They only date up. Now, do I mean by looks or wealth? Absolutely not. It's a part of it, but it's not the only thing, and here's why. Wealth and looks and all those things are factual. They're logical. Men value logic. Women value emotion. So your value is in the emotional part. So how do you become higher value than her? It's simple. The person who is invested the most has the least value. And I think a really good example of that is in every single interaction, there is a chaser and there is a trophy. There is a prize. And obviously the prize is the higher value one. Now, what is crucial for me to get across is there can never be two prizes at the same moment in time. You could change roles. For instance, if we're talking about lucid dreaming, of course I'm chasing you. Of course you're the prize. But right now, if we're talking about dating, those roles flip. The point is you and I can never both be the chaser or the trophy at the exact same point in time. Even if you took two successful people, Bezos, Musk, if you're talking about, going to Mars, obviously Bezos is chasing him. If we're talking about shipping packages around the world in half a day, the roles flip. That's very important for you to notice. So now that's all very abstract. How do we bring this to real life? Where your chest is pointing is where your attention is going. Now with women, we can substitute the word attention for validation. And women need three things to stay alive: food, water, and validation. Men only need two. Now, when a girl gets validation from a guy and she didn't have to work for it, she didn't have to invest in it, she doesn't value it. When a guy walks up and says, "Oh, I think you're so cute, I think you're so beautiful," she says, "Thank you. Thank you for that validation. I'm going to take that. I need that to live. Thank you for chasing me. But now I'm going to go meet a higher value man and actually have sex with him because biologically that's what I'm supposed to do." And then men are confused because they say, wait a minute, a man gets validated when a woman has sex with him. A woman gets validated when, she gets a compliment, when she gets a lot of attention. So the end goal for men and the end goal for women is different, right? Men's end goal is sex, women's is validation. The only way both parties win is when your sex fully validates her. If you fully validate her before having sex, you're not going to get there because she doesn't think that you're a high value enough guy, that you gave up your validation so early on. It's like you found $2,000 walking down the street, you're way more likely to blow that on something stupid because you don't value it, because you didn't work for it. But if you drove around Lyft all day for a month and made $2,000, you better believe you're going to invest that in yourself or save it because you value the money. It's the same thing with women. So that is very, very important to understand. So doing this a little bit fast paced because we only have this one call. Now let's get into approaching. When you first approach a girl, she has two questions on her mind. If you don't answer those two questions, she will never let her guard down. Those two questions are, why is this guy talking to me? And how long is this guy going to be talking to me for? When you can answer those two questions in her mind, she could take a breath. You can also take a breath, and all the awkward energy will just go away. Trust me, try it. It's amazing. If you're in a club or that kind of place where I think you need to be for this kind of girl, you could say something like, hey, I'm about to go grab a drink, so I only have a second. but you looked really cool. I wanted to come say hi really quick.
Mhm.
Perfect. Or
What? Yeah.
one
Do
last
another
one
one.
I just want to give you is I'm about to get a drink. There's a huge line at the bar. I don't feel like waiting in that, but I didn't want to sit on my phone like a typical anti-social millennial. You looked really cool, so I wanted to come connect with you for a minute, and then I'm going to go grab that drink. Perfect. You're not lower value. It's not, oh my God, you're so cute, I'm chasing you. It's kind of cool actually. You're like, hey, I don't want to wait, and you seem cool. Like, let's just vibe
Mhm.
out. It's completely different energy. And now she's going to say, why is this guy talking to me? Okay, I understand. Sounds good. He doesn't want to be antisocial like the rest of the world. Awesome. And how long? Oh, just another minute. Okay, I have a minute. A lot of guys approach, she could even like him, but the fact that he didn't put a time limit on it makes her think like, oh my God, I got to get back my friends. I got to do this. I got to do that. And she just ends it just because of that. It's crazy.
Right. Excellent.
But
Okay, so one step further than that, let's say we're sober or we don't like to go out at night. Let's say we only want to approach people during the day, like
sure.
maybe go to the mall or go to a university if you're in the right age range.
Yeah.
How would that approach go?
Yeah.
So
So
you
actually,
see someone at a park
yeah.
or you see someone at the university or a mall. How does that go?
Sure. So approaching at night, there's actually two steps to it. Approaching during the day, there's only one step to it. Luckily for you, the first step of at night and the first step and the only step for at the day is the same thing, answering those two questions, but I will give you different examples. So let's say that you're in Starbucks and you're getting a drink and there's a girl sitting at the table working on her laptop. You could say something like, hey, I'm about to hop on a work meeting in a couple minutes, but in the meantime, I didn't want to just scroll on my phone like a typical millennial. You seemed really cool. I wanted to come say hi. And then she'd be like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And then the way that you jumpstart the conversation, don't ask her a one-word question, because if you ask a one-word question, you're going to get a one-word answer, which is what? No investment. Instead of saying something like most guys, where do you work? What's way better is, wow, I can't believe how busy your sales job has you right now. And this is what's cool about that. 95% of the time, you're going to be wrong. And that's good, because humans love to tell you when you're wrong about something. And you should be like, she's going to say, I'm not in sales. I do blah, 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 blah. Why did you think that? And I'm like, yep, tell me why I was wrong while you're opening up and investing in me. 5% of the time you might guess it right. And then it's that whole funny, like, oh, well, we're just kindred souls. We just connected. It's like, how did you know that about me? That's crazy. Oh, you just completely put off like elegant, like sales vibes. Absolutely. She'd be like, what? How? And it's a funny, flirty conversation. So that could be, the Starbucks kind of approach. Another one that is really good is a gym approach. I've had multiple clients land dates and even girlfriends from this, which is I had a client who worked out at a very small gym. He knew everybody in his gym. Then he transferred to Planet Fitness, big corporate gym, and there's this girl that he really wanted to approach. So I said, just be honest. Shocker. I said, walk up to her and say, hey, I only have a second. I'm waiting for the leg press machine. But I used to work out in a really small gym. So to me, I'm used to knowing everyone. And now, like, I've been here, I don't know anyone. It's so weird for me. I'm David. What's your name? Boom. Why is this guy approaching me? Because it's weird that he doesn't know anyone. He's seen me a couple times. He wanted to introduce himself. Totally normal.
Mm-hmm.
Because women follow a man's lead. And let's face it, in 2022, walking up and talking to a girl is weird. It's not normal because everyone's antisocial now. So when you walk up and you make it normal and you say, it is weird that I don't know anyone in here right now, I wanted to say hi. When you say that with extreme conviction and confidence and you believe your own BS, she will too. She will too. It's only when guys walk up and they feel weird about it, then of course she's going to feel that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember like it's been a few months. Like I have a girlfriend right now who's overseas, but like when I would everyone I've ever dated, I've always cold approached during the day.
Wow.
And I've always remembered there was always a period of time where I hadn't dated anybody in a while, like a few months. So I had to work up the energy to it. Like I unconsciously like meditated or later on, would watch YouTube videos of other people doing that. And then you just get in the feeling of, oh, this is just second nature. This is a habit. And then the first few ones are terrible always. You get rejected immediately usually because like you're like, oh, nervous and things. And then you just relax more. You get more confident. Maybe you get some coffee or, some food. And then you just walk around saying hi to people. And then it feels effortlessly. And
Yes.
I really vibe with that energy thing.
Yes.
Because it's all about, it doesn't matter what I say to them at any point. I could even say, hey, I find you attractive. And those two words, your two questions, why is he talking to me? I find you attractive. How long is he going to be talking to me? I've never really addressed that, but I've always had the attitude of like, I'm just gonna have fun no matter what I do, so I can just leave in like a few minutes. So that's really interesting. I'm going to start incorporating that. That's so let's
give
come.
you
Yeah,
one more pro tip on that. Really,
go ahead.
it's so important. A lot of guys get a girl's number at the end of the approach and then they leave. What that subconsciously does is that tells the girl, this man will take something from me and then he will leave.
Yeah,
Evolutionary
I
speaking.
learned the opposite. I learned either get it like in the middle of the conversation, make plans for the future while you're in the middle of a
Yes.
conversation, get the number, and then you talk
Keep
a little bit
talking.
longer. Maybe you can have an instant date if they're free at that time too,
Good.
where you just like go get coffee or something. Or if
Yes.
they're busy or have to go to do something else, go
Yes.
to work, you just say,
Yes.
hey, let's I'll call you. I always say I'll call. I don't like to text. It's bullshit.
Okay.
And then they're like, that's usually better because they're like, oh, okay, I'm so used to just people texting me back and forth, having this flirty like game, but now it's like it's direct. If I'm calling you, we're gonna meet up for something, and we already established we're meeting at this place or this time, or we're gonna do this event. So that's cool.
Approaching is so normal and the rest of the world is so abnormal, right? Like Starbucks, girl sitting there, hey, I have a call starting in 10 minutes. Is it cool if I sit? She's not going to say no. So like, as long as your energy is good, you sit down and as you're sitting, you're like, isn't it so weird that like just a bunch of strangers like all sit like way apart and everyone's like afraid of each other? Like what happens to the world in 2022? Like, I'm so glad we're not like that. And she'd be like, I know everyone's so weird, and boom, you're off.
Yeah, I was thinking about for energy for like teaching these people who watch it through the vlogs, and like for my own personal energy, and like for health we do I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm happy. For this we could be like I'm a sex god, I'm a genius. Every conversation is beautiful and wonderful. I spread out love into the universe. Every girl wants me, of course.
Yeah.
It's that old James Bond. Every girl wants him, every man wants to be him. You have that mindset about yourself, and you're the first person character of whatever story you're living in, and every opportunity, rejection is just a redirection to whatever you want. Half of the girls are going to have boyfriends, so unless your game is on point, they're not going to leave their boyfriend, and the other half will probably date
teach you about boyfriend game.
Yeah, and then probably 10% of the half that are single would probably sleep with you that night. So like there's that opportunity, but like I think going in with it, especially for your students, I'm probably assuming most of them, if they haven't had sex in a while, they want to have sex first, but the next step is let's have a relationship, right? How do we have this relationship and make it better and better? So we can start there and then start pivoting into the full happiness regime, which is love interests and friends and family relationships. So let's start with love interests. Once we're dating these people, once we're in a relationship, how do we maintain that relationship so it's always good and keep improving?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So you want me to go into that coaching right now?
Okay.
Yeah. So the way to maintain it, number one, is not forgetting that you're still dating the person, right? People go to that next level of, okay, we're in a relationship, we're not dating anymore. And that is the beginning of the end, right? You never stop dating the person. You never stop being on your toes because, so many guys are so cool. They're so like funny with texts in the middle of the day and keep her, excited. And they flirt. Husbands and wives don't even flirt with each other. Everything you did to spark it, you stop doing when you have it. It's crazy. So keep dating her. That is number one, the simplest advice in the world. It's like that analogy, kiss, keep it simple, stupid. Like right there, perfect. That's the first piece of advice. And without that, nothing I'm about to say even matters. On an evolutionary basis, though, the best way to keep a girl is understanding that girls are hypergamous, which means that they are always looking for a higher value man. And it's not because they're unfaithful. It's not because they are mean. It's just, it's in their DNA.
Mhm.
So how do you keep her with you and not leaving to a higher value man? If you grow your value, 1% a day, just like that penny analogy, she will stay. It's only when she watches you stay stagnant for a long time is when your value starts going in the opposite direction. At some point, her value will surpass you. That is the easiest and quickest way for a relationship to end, right?
Mhm.
It's like the girl dating a high
So
school quarterback, and then he gets fat and 30K a year, and she's gone.
exactly. Okay, so how do we keep increasing value? What aspects increase value to women?
Absolutely. So obviously the biggest thing is going to be your purpose in life. Now,
Mhm.
a lot of times that is financially motivated, which is cool and definitely great, whether it's building a business, whether it's building a side hustle or just going up the ranks in your job, all that is cool. Um, if it's not, and you're not that kind of guy, you're like the starving artist, if you will, that's fine too. Because if you can really get a girl invested in you and your mission in life, whatever that is, if it's building, the world's largest model train set, right? It doesn't even matter. Um, as long as you are super, super passionate and you're working towards that, she will get behind it too. If you have a sister or a female cousin and you've seen her date multiple men, you will know that she's a different person with completely different interests with every man that she dates. Because at the end of the day, I know it's kind of toxic, but women don't really have a rigid personality like men do. Women are a lot more flowing. They're a lot more like water, and they're a lot more adopting the interests and the passions of her man and supporting it. I mean, that's what a feminine is, right? It supports a man on his mission in life. So whether your mission is to become a black belt in karate or build a business, either way is completely fine too. But you need to be getting 1% better every single day. Now, physically is also, a standard of this, right? If you're getting uglier every day, probably not good. It's easier for men because we actually get more attractive as we get older to women, which is awesome. But of course, just doing something every single day to maintain physical health. Again, your goal doesn't have to be an Olympian, but just something to stay, attractive is important. And continuing to date her is
Mhm.
a big thing as well. Continuing to challenge her a little bit, right? Because how do you become higher value? You don't put others down below you, you actually bring others up to your level. And I think if you can get a good combination of all those things, it's very important. The biggest thing guys mess up is they have this big purpose, they have this big mission, but they don't do a good job making the girl feel like she's a part of it,
Mhm.
right? Like
Very inclusive. That's what I was thinking. Like, once I'm at the 3 to 6 level, I'm gonna have to include them in the business. Otherwise, like I won't be able to sustain both. So like giving them leadership roles of whatever they're passionate about. Maybe one's an engineer, maybe one's an artist, a creative type, maybe one's a physicist. There's like all different aspects to incorporate around high value. And to further on what you did, what I would always do or try to do in relationships is every date you go on, whether it's just a couple times a week or once a week, treat it as your first date again.
yeah,
Like you've never met the person and you're going to learn about them and get intrigued by them, share a meal, like open the car door, all the little things that are like, wow, this feels like it's like you're getting butterflies. It's the first time you're ever meeting again. um so
yes.
yeah, I've always tried to incorporate that. I really I like that. So you'd say to be a high value man, you'd probably have to get a hold of, let's say, your health, your wealth, and your happiness. Would you say that?
I would say that's the only thing you have to do to become a high value man. And women also, they don't, I just said like they always go with the highest value man. It's kind of like a stock, yes, there are some women who just want a guy who's already a multimillionaire and just established, and that's fine. Maybe in fact you don't even want that girl. The highest quality women will sometimes invest in a man who she believes so much is going somewhere, but he's not quite there yet, right? That's your
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo wives. That's your Jeff Bezos wives before the divorce. um, you know,
Yeah, you'll find once they get there, they're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it would be. But like the build up, what you'll find is like age range between 18 to 24, like right in those college years. That's when they're the most experimental. That's when they're like maybe like trying things with their girlfriends or their roommates, that's when they're like, oh, whoever I'm dating right now is in med school, so they're broke now, they're going to be in huge debt, but eventually they'll have a great job that they love and they work their butt off. Or they're an artist who's broke now, who eventually will be a world famous artist. So like that mindset is there. And then when they get in their 30s or 40s, they've had all those experiences, so now they want someone who's already settled, who already has everything under control, and they're willing to be at that point. Or they themselves became so high value that all they're looking for is a stay-at-home dad. So that there's like both ends of that spectrum depending on where you fall into that category. So that's very interesting. Okay, so let's start winding down this call. So we've got some action. What are the daily actions I should take every day? Should I set a set amount of people I should approach? Should I have a goal about how many girlfriends I need to have at a certain point, or how many relationships I should have? How does that look like if you have a logical standpoint?
Sure. The very last thing I want to say, just to wrap up the keeping a girl, is see, guys will have a goal like my goal is I want to make 200 grand a year. And that's great, but there's no emotion behind that.
What's the reason?
Yeah. And when you have the girl, it's like, when I get to this goal, our life will look like this. That is what a girl can invest in. That's why a girl stays. She doesn't stay for 200K in the bank. That doesn't mean anything to her. She stays for what your life is going to be like. So that is just really good advice for guys out there. Now, so the daily actions, to make this real again, right? I think a great starting point is 3 to 5 approaches daily. Not even having the goal of, getting her number kind of thing. Having the goal of, setting the intent out there that in this approach, we're going to have fun, period. That's my goal. My goal is to make this girl have fun right now. And believe me, if that's your goal, guess what? You're getting the number. Of course you are. Or my goal is to make a real genuine connection with this girl right now. Well, then of course the number is a byproduct. I don't want you to go in there saying I need to get 3 to 5 numbers. That's my goal. Because when you go in with that energy, you go in with this taking energy, and no one likes,
so you go in with the energy of, I'm going to have 3 to 5 amazing experiences today. And it's only going to be fun.
That's giving.
It doesn't matter if, and you can have that energy even further. It doesn't matter if they're men, women, or even the women I'm attracted to. I'm just going to have fun with everybody I invest in. That's how I learned to build up social confidence. I would literally like give high fives to strangers, give random compliments, and then that gets you in the habit, warmed up for when you do see someone you're attracted to. You're already warmed up talking to enough people where, hey, everybody's just a reflection of my own subconscious anyways, so I'm just speaking to myself in a way. And then once you go to that, it's like, oh, I wonder what that version of myself is having in a human experience right now, and you just build on that.
Yeah, even if you what was I about to say? I was about to say something. You said, oh, the ugly girls. Yeah, so the worst thing you could do is treat an ugly girl different, because that's the whole problem, right? Like the reason you get nervous around hotter girls is because you're putting them up on a pedestal. I hate when guys put girls on a 1 to 10 scale, because the problem with that is you reject yourself before you even approach them by saying something like, this girl's a 10, I better be on my game if I'm going to get her, right? She's up here, I'm down here.
The energy feels different at those points. Yeah,
completely different. What's way better is like, oh, here's a girl, I happen to be attracted to her, but like, that's fine. I don't know if she's high quality.
Yeah, what if she has a terrible personality,
Yeah, because a high quality girl is only 50% looks, 50% personality. So congrats on the looks. You earned my approach. Now I am going to challenge you up to my level to see if you meet my standards.
Yeah.
Completely different energy.
Exactly.
Going to equal completely different actions and results, right? I didn't give you a line to say. I don't know what you're going to say, but if your mindset and energy is what I just said, no shitty line can come out of that mouth.
It really doesn't matter what you say, as long as you're confident and feel good. And hooray, they won the genetic lottery, right? Yeah, that's the first thing we see, but like, we're not going to stick around with them if their personality is terrible, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So any final points you have on that before we move on to friends and family relationships?
No, I think that's pretty good. And setting up a loose date, right? Like in person, it's not this day, this time, we're going to do that. It's not that at all. I like asking girls out on a date by saying, I'm going to go do this fun thing. It's going to be great. You seem cool. You should come. you should come, an invite is way better than asking her, because when you ask a girl, do you want to do this with me? You are putting her in the power position, which she does not want to be in. It doesn't allow her to be feminine. And you can't come back from that. If she says no, that's a rejection. You can't come back
Yeah.
from that. Now, if you say, I'm going to go do this thing with or without you, it's going to be amazing, but you seem cool, you should come. Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't make it, I'm busy. Cool. Is that a rejection? No, that's a scheduling conflict. If you invite a friend to a barbecue and he's out of town, he didn't reject you. It's different. Now it's like, okay, no worries. Maybe next time you're lost, right?
Exactly.
The is totally different.
Yeah, it's the same in sales, right? You make
Yes.
statements. You don't ask questions that can have a no, because people are ingrained to say no, no matter what it is. Even you see this when people offer other people money on those like social experiments. They're like, "Hey, you want $20?" and they say no, because the first thing is no.
They know
if you ask
something weird.
questions. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so we got
yeah.
a couple minutes left. Let's finish strong. So let's say we get our start dating, 3 to 5. We'll check in a week for this student mentality. But everything else, feel free to just reach out for sales calls and stuff like that. So this final point, we're going to approach a few people every day, have great experiences, not expect anything from it, just have high energy and enjoy ourselves. And then we'll see how it progresses from there. Now let's talk about non-love interest relationships, your friends and family. How do you have better relationships with your siblings, your friends, your parents, your grandparents? How do you do that?
Dedicating. Okay, so understanding that spending a whole day with someone where you're half-assing it, right? Where you're texting on your phone and doing work and doing whatever, is not as fulfilling as having a 15-minute phone call where you are 100% fully present with them. And that's the same thing for keeping a girl as well. A lot of guys spend a lot of time with their wife. They're not really there. Your wife would rather just 30 minutes a day of you fully. Same thing. So if you have the time, dedicating, a dinner or something fun that you and an old friend used to do, scheduling that. Like me and a good friend of mine, Sam, like I would love to go like go-karting with him. We'd have an amazing time. So doing something like that would be huge. Calling a grandpa and aunts and uncle, genuinely being fully present there for 15 minutes, and that's it, is a great way, because in 2022 we think that sharing posts and liking and commenting is actually building our relationship, but it's not. It's completely fake. And 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, everyone's lacking that. And if you did something like that once a month with a distant family member, with an old friend who moved away, once a month, plenty. Amazing. Parents, of course, a little bit more, maybe close friends a little bit more, sure, siblings a bit more. But I'm talking about just keeping that relationship with everyone. That's I think all it takes.
Excellent. I love it.
Finding out where they are and where they want to go and what they're struggling with. Is there any way you could help? Perfect.
All right. So on your last note, what is your best piece of advice for getting everything you want in life?
Best piece of advice for getting everything you want in life. Okay. I would say that it's super important that you become a valuable human being, because at the end of the day, business people are not gonna, they don't do business with people that they don't like, or they don't think that they can, get something from. For me, building my skill, what I bring to this earth is I am very, very good with helping guys get women. That's my skill. And I don't have a $300,000 sports car, but I'm in a car club full of people that have $300,000 sports cars. And I connect with those guys because, yes, I can't teach them anything about business. I'm not as rich as them, but I do know this area of life better than them. And that is the value that I bring. So having a dedicated skill that is value that you're on this earth to give, that is how you get into social circles. Like that's how you give value to people and get value back. So at the end of the day,
Excellent.
Everything you could ever want, somebody has it and someone's got to give it to you. So become a valuable person and make them like you.
Love it. Great call. Thanks for hopping on this with me.
Of course. Perfect timing.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.